All right, we got early power rankings for the 2026 season. Those came out even before the national championship game was over. So we're going to break it down. We got USA Today Sports and On3 that really like where Oklahoma's at heading into the offseason. Coming up next on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Once again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And if you want more Locked On Sooners and more Locked On, go check out the Everydayer Club at lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer club. You can get ad-free audio access across every major podcast platform, Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you like to download and listen to podcasts. You can also get access to a members-only chat through an app called Discord, where you can talk ball, you can talk puck, you can talk all kinds of sports across the Locked On network with Locked On experts and analysts, as well as the everydayers from around the world in this Discord chat. You get a members-free or members-only invite to that. You can talk shop with Jay and I. You can ask questions. You can get some of that inside info that sometimes we come across. There's not always nuggets, but we might get a little bit. And Jay might fight with you if you got something negative to say about Oklahoma.
Squabble up.
Or, hey, but there's a lot of great chats that are happening over there and very few trolls. And that's one of my favorite things about the Discord chat is that not a lot of people that aren't there just to talk ball. And that's pretty fun. So go check that out. LockedOnPodcast.com/everydayer club for $5 a month or $50 a year. LockedOnPodcast.com/everydayer club. All right, Jay, we got some power rankings from USA Today Sports and On3. The folks over at USA Today Sports like the Sooners a little bit better, ranking them number 6 in their way too early power rankings, and On3 has them at number 10.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So the first one, On3 at 10, the J.D. Piquel statement basically is that, I'll give you the Cliff's notes. Brent Venables is for real. He definitely has earned at being an SEC coach, and his defense should be consistent. The question is the offense going to be able to take that next step? And if they do it and they get a run game going, J.D. Piquel saying playoffs and SEC title run. Totally can see that. That's kind of the whole point of all the pickups that we've seen that this staff has done here in the transfer portal. And we pointed it out. The staff likes their roster. This roster got them to 10 wins. They need to move forward. The thing we felt like held it back, passing game, run game. Well, the line is going to be more seasoned. You add an additional component to grow with that, but the line is now seasoned, and they look better in running later in the season. Your running backs need to be healthy, but they look like they'll be healthy, while at the same time, you're not going to have 2 running backs that aren't playing anymore that are healthy, right? You've got 2 healthy backs, plus you're bringing in more backs who will actually play this year. Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah. You don't have to worry about them waiting to transfer out. Mm-hmm. On top of that, the wide receiver room just needed a little bit of a refresh. You add a proven talent to go with Satania. Satania proved himself. You added Trell Harris, who has been proven. He was one of the top receivers in the ACC. He was the top receiver for Virginia, who threw the ball a lot.
Yeah.
So he had a lot of opportunity. And then you bring in Parker Livingstone, who looked like someone that was going to possibly be a special player. And then Texas kind of kicked him out. So you've got it. You got guys that can get open. You got guys that can make catches. Now just material needs to get it to him. And I have faith that he will. When he didn't have the messed up thumb, looked good. Yeah. Now he needs to go back to that. We need the Michigan version to come back. We saw it a couple of times. We saw glimmers of it, John. So glimmers of the material that was the Michigan version. He needs to just be that for the rest of the year. And I think he can if he stays healthy.
Oklahoma's run game finished 113th in the nation in rushing offense, and they averaged 3.5 yards per carry. 3.5 yards per carry. Do you know who we tied with in rushing offense?
Who?
I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it. Oklahoma State. That's how bad the rush offense was for Oklahoma in 2025. So I bring that up only to say this.
That's disgusting.
Jay, that if we can get to top half of the nation in rushing offense,
just top half,
that's going to make the offense better. That's going to make this team better. And you're going to have a chance to win more games. That is the biggest difference. We said all offseason last year, right? In the 9 months from when the Armed Forces Bowl ended and the beginning of the 2025 season ended, we said if Oklahoma's offense improved, it didn't have to be a top 30 offense, but if it improved, this would be a potential team that could win 10 games. And lo and behold, they won 10 games. Now, if the run game improves, again, it doesn't have to be a top 20 rush offense. Now, it'd be great if it is. I'm not going to say that it doesn't need to be. But if it can grow to becoming a top 70 rush offense, a top 60 rush offense, that makes this whole thing work so much better.
Yeah, we don't need to be the number one run game. Now, granted, y'all, we would all love that.
I'll take it.
You will take it. Now, luckily, both your backs have gotten 100-yard games in the SEC, so they understand how to get 100 yards in an SEC game. With X-Rob getting it against Ole Miss as well against Tennessee, Torrey getting it against South Carolina on the road, you know that they can do it. Now they just got to be consistent about it and also be healthy. But I like the idea of Jonathan Hatton also getting an opportunity to get some carries. Y'all know how much I love me some Jonathan Hatton. He is one of the best prospects, I believe, at running back we've had since Adrian Peterson. I will say that out loud multiple times. He's huge, and he runs like it, and he's fast, and he's huge. I mean, you coming in 6'1", 220 already as a true freshman. I'm just saying. Now, do I think he will be Adrian? I don't think he will, but he's about as big when it comes to that, just because the talent is so there, visibly. But outside of that, though, John, I'm looking at the next one, which we got to talk about, is going to be USA Today, who really, really likes Oklahoma. Now, granted, Texas is number one on their sheet, so, take that for
Not
whatever.
surprising.
Indiana's number 4,
all.
and they just won the national championship. Trying to figure out why we're going to do that to Indiana. I mean, Indiana should be number 1 because they just won the Natty, but that's just how I roll.
And they're bringing in Josh Hoover, who is no slouch at quarterback. So
another quarterback that throws the ball very well and throws the ball a lot.
Yeah.
Basically fits what Indiana's trying to do. But for Oklahoma, number 6 on their ranking. So number 1, Texas. Number 2, Ohio State, of course. Number 3, Georgia. Checks out. Number 4, Indiana. Still very weird to say Indiana's in the top 5, but, it's Indiana. 5 is Notre Dame, and then 6 is Oklahoma. And the biggest thing they point out is, now, I got to ask you this, John. How much do you agree on this? The defense will carry over this year's gains if a less deep but very talented line gets a boost from players such as former 5-star PG Adebaware, who came back from the portal. He went in and withdrawed out. But they said the secondary might be the best in the SEC. John, how do you feel about that?
It's really early to disagree with it because I don't know what the rest of the SEC secondaries look like, but Oklahoma's going to have one of the better ones. I know that. I know that
they're bringing back so many players.
Ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they'll be up there. Like I don't know if I can call them the best without looking at the rest of the rosters and depth and, returning production and all that. But with Eli Bowen, Cortland Guillory, Peyton Bowen, and Michael Boganowski, I feel great about it. Reggie Powers as that cheetah, 5th defensive back. I feel great about the secondary, which is a crazy turn of events after what we felt like this time last year.
Well, how the turntables. That was the first thing I was thinking about. It's like, look at this. The defensive line was considered the best in the SEC. Shout out to Cole Kublik. And it proved it 100%. When he was in town for the Alabama game, the first round of playoffs, at the live showing by the Oklahoma Breakdown. That's what he said. He's like, hey, look, I said that they were the best one. And, I mean, they looked like it. And we was out there killing it. Now, you add to that, you take away R. Mason Thomas, but you add in Taylor Wine, who just really was cooking with it. But that secondary, Cortland Guillory, true freshman, beasted it. Eli Bowen, now true sophomore. We were concerned he wasn't even going to play this year because of that ankle injury he had in camp. Then he ended up having to have ankle surgery, right? And then you're like, all right, when do we get him back? Probably close to the SEC play at Auburn. Man gets out there, balls. Then he gets another pick 6. Gets him a pick 6 against Alabama. You're like, all right, looks like Eli Bowen is back. But that's the crazy dynamic. You still got Jacoby Johnson, right? Like JJ Newcomb is still back there. He's coming off of, I guess, a shoulder surgery. He comes back healthy. The secondary has a really good chance of being, I mean, Davon Jordan was a big piece. JJ Newcomb and Davon Jordan were about the same dude. That, to me, they were the same dude. Talent, speed, strength, all of that. But yeah, it's kind of crazy to think that Oklahoma may be up there in not only the secondary, not only defensive line, but also in the secondary.
Yeah, the defense to me, I think, has a chance to still be really, really good. Now, you don't lose Art Mason Thomas and Grayson Halton without having some questions about will they take a bit of a step back. But here's the thing. Even if they do take a step back, Oklahoma can still win a lot of games because the offense should take a step forward.
Yep.
Again, you're going to get more complementary style football. You don't need your defense to hold teams under 13 every single week in order to have a chance to win. That's why Jim Nagy, Brent Venables, and their respective staffs got aggressive in the transfer portal on the offensive side of the ball, is because they knew they were losing key players to their defense.
Yep.
So you have to bolster the offense to match that. So listen, I feel good about it. Would I rank them 6 right now? I don't know. I haven't dug that deep, but I can't argue with it. You have a lot of really impressive pieces coming back, and I expect John Mateer to be better next year than he was this year. So
simply put, we returned 8 starters on defense, and what was that?
Kind of 7,
8 on the offense. You upgrade your tight end room, which is what you really needed to do with veterans, and now your youth can actually grow. It's kind of hard. The returning production is going to look really good for Oklahoma going into this season.
I want to ask you this question for tomorrow's show, Jay, and we'll leave the people with this because I talked about it a little bit while you were out of town last week, but how much a second year in the strength and conditioning program will benefit Michael Fasusi and Ryan Foje and Eddie Pierre Louis being a year older, Heath Ozida being a year older, Fasusi and Foje being a year older. Like what I want to get your thoughts on how much that can help the offensive line improve. We'll talk about that on tomorrow's show. But coming up next, we have a national champion. It's the Indiana Hoosiers beating Miami. What did we learn that we can apply and hope for Oklahoma? Coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.